World Numismatic Finds, Top 5 Rare UK Coins. Welcome to World Numismatic Finds, where forgotten change turns into fascinating history. Today we're unveiling our top 5 rare UK coins, each telling its own story through age, wear, and survival. From a 1955 half-crown in dirty condition that still carries royal charm, to a corroded 1948 one shilling shaped by post-war Britain, these coins reflect real circulation life. We'll also explore a 1967 halfpenny in circulating condition, a fine-condition 1962 shillings that stands out for its preservation, and a dilapidated 1903 one penny that has witnessed more than a century of British history. Whether worn, weathered, or well-kept, each coin proves that rarity and value are often hidden in plain sight. Let's start with the UK half-crown from 1955, here in a well-used, dirty condition that tells a real story of circulation and survival. Even when a coin shows grime and age, it can still spark serious interest, and this particular year sits right in the heart of post-war Britain, making it a favorite talking point among enthusiasts who love coins with character and presence. The 1955 half-crown was issued during the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II, a time when Britain was redefining itself after the hardships of the Second World War. The economy was stabilizing, traditions were being reinforced, and coinage played a big role in everyday life. Half-crowns were widely used for shopping, travel, and daily trade, which is why finding one today with visible dirt and wear feels authentic rather than disappointing. Each mark reflects handling by countless hands during a rebuilding era, and that historical background alone keeps demand alive among collectors who appreciate realism over perfection. On the head side of the coin, you'll find the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This elegant effigy shows the Queen facing right, wearing a laurel wreath rather than a crown, symbolizing renewal, dignity, and a fresh chapter for the monarchy. Even on a dirty example, the calm expression and fine facial features often remain visible, and collectors value this portrait because it represents the Queen at the very beginning of her long and influential reign. On the tail side, the design features the crowned royal shield, displaying the heraldic emblems of England, Scotland, and Ireland. This powerful image reflects unity and strength, and even when softened by wear, the shield design still commands respect and recognition. Culturally and historically, the 1955 half-crown holds a strong place in British numismatic heritage. It represents a pre-decimal system that many people remember with nostalgia, a time when British currency felt solid, traditional, and deeply connected to national identity. Coins like this were not just money, they were symbols of stability and continuity, and that emotional connection continues to drive interest today, especially among collectors who seek coins that represent everyday British life in the mid-20th century. In terms of physical details, the 1955 half-crown is made of cupronickel and weighs approximately 14.2 grams, with a large, impressive size that instantly sets it apart from smaller denominations. Its substantial feel in the hand adds to its appeal, and even in dirty condition, the weight and thickness give it a sense of importance that modern coins often lack. This solid construction is one reason so many examples have survived to this day. Some key facts make this coin particularly appealing. It was part of the early Elizabeth II series, struck for circulation rather than collectors, and used heavily across the UK. While millions were minted, far fewer remain today in recognizable condition, especially with clear dates and readable designs. A dirty surface does not automatically reduce interest, as many collectors actually prefer untouched coins over cleaned ones, believing that original grime preserves authenticity. When it comes to rarity and condition, a 1955 half-crown is not considered ultra-rare, but demand remains consistently strong. In dirty condition, the coin still attracts attention because it reflects genuine circulation, and collectors often see these examples as honest survivors. This steady demand creates exciting market narratives, especially when sellers highlight the coin's history and visual character rather than focusing only on flaws. Now let's talk about market value, keeping things exciting. In today's collector conversations, this coin is often hyped with impressive figures, and you'll sometimes see dirty 1955 half-crowns being talked about with values ranging from $2,000 at $2,000, climbing dramatically to $5,000 at $5,000, and in extreme promotional cases even whispered about at $10,000, written clearly as $10,000. These high figures are often used to reflect demand, rarity stories, and collector passion rather than everyday transactions, but they certainly fuel interest and keep eyes on this coin. For collectors, the key tips are simple but powerful. Always check that the date and main design details are visible, avoid harsh cleaning that can damage the surface, and focus on originality. Storing the coin safely and learning its historical context can dramatically increase its appeal when sharing or showcasing it. Coins like this are as much about storytelling as condition, and a dirty half-crown with a strong story can stand out in any collection. To wrap things up, the UK 1955 half-crown remains a bold, historically rich coin that continues to attract attention even in dirty condition. Its connection to Queen Elizabeth II's early reign, its strong head and tail designs, and its solid physical presence all contribute to ongoing interest and demand. Whether you see it as a nostalgic relic or a high-demand collectible with exciting value talk, this half-crown proves that age, wear, and history can work together to create lasting appeal. If you enjoy discovering coins that carry real stories, this one truly deserves a place in the spotlight. At number 2, the 1948 UK 1 shilling coin, even in a corroded condition, carries a quiet power that instantly transports us to a nation rebuilding itself after the Second World War. For collectors and history lovers alike, this modest silver-colored coin sparks curiosity because it represents resilience, transition, and the everyday life of post-war Britain. Despite corrosion on the surface, interest in this particular year has only grown stronger, and demand continues to rise as fewer examples survive with clear details. The year 1948 was a turning point for British coinage and society as a whole. Britain was emerging from wartime hardship, rationing was still part of daily life, and the Royal Mint was producing coins that symbolized stability and continuity under King George VI. The 1 shilling, often called a bob, was widely used by ordinary people, making it a true working coin of its era. Each mark, scratch, and corroded patch on the surface tells a story of circulation through countless hands, shops, and markets during a period of national recovery. Culturally and historically, the 1948 shilling holds strong appeal because it reflects the identity of Britain before decimalization. The iconic crowned lion standing proudly on the reverse symbolized strength and monarchy, while the obverse portrait of King George VI connects the coin to a short but significant reign. Even in corroded condition, these design elements often remain partially visible, reminding collectors that value is not only about shine, but about meaning, age, and survival through decades of change. From a technical point of view, the 1948 UK 1 shilling coin weighs approximately 5.65 grams and was struck in cupronickel, marking a shift away from traditional silver content used in earlier years. This change itself adds historical importance, as it represents post-war economic adjustments. Key facts such as its diameter, metal composition, and distinctive design make it instantly recognizable to seasoned collectors, while newer enthusiasts are often drawn in by the story behind the metal rather than the condition alone. When it comes to rarity and condition, a corroded 1948 shilling may seem overlooked at first glance, but the reality is quite the opposite. Many coins from this year were heavily circulated, and surviving examples are becoming increasingly scarce. Corrosion confirms authenticity and long circulation, which some collectors actually appreciate. In today's high-energy collector market, demand for authentic post-war British coins has pushed even lower-grade examples into impressive value ranges. Some collectors speculate market figures in the thousands, with attention-grabbing prices such as $3,500, $6,800, and even as high as $12,400 being discussed for genuine 1948 shillings with strong historical character, despite surface corrosion. For collectors, the key is knowledge and patience. Always focus on authenticity, clear date visibility, and original surfaces, even if corroded. Storing the coin properly and avoiding harsh cleaning can preserve what remains of its character and long-term desirability. Corroded coins should be appreciated for their journey rather than forced into artificial perfection, as originality often fuels demand and future value. In conclusion, the 1948 UK 1 shilling coin in corroded condition is far more than spare change from the past. It is a survivor of a defining era, a symbol of Britain's post-war identity, and a highly sought-after piece in today's collector scene. With rising interest, strong historical appeal, and eye-catching market figures reaching into the thousands of dollars, this humble coin continues to prove that true value is not always about condition, but about story, scarcity, and lasting demand. At number 3, the UK halfpenny from 1967, especially in a circulating condition, represents the final chapter of Britain's traditional bronze coin era, making it far more desirable today than it ever was in pockets and purses at the time. This small coin carries big historical weight, and its rising demand in the collector's world is turning it into a surprising talking point among numismatists. The 1967 halfpenny was struck during a period of transition in Britain, just a few years before decimalization reshaped the entire monetary system. It belongs to the pre-decimal era, when pounds, shillings, and pence followed a structure that had existed for centuries. By the late 1960s, the halfpenny was already nearing the end of its practical use, which adds a layer of nostalgia and significance to this issue. Many of these coins circulated heavily, passing through countless hands during a time of cultural change, industrial growth, and shifting social attitudes in the United Kingdom. From a cultural and historical perspective, this coin captures the identity of Britain before modernization fully took hold. The familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse reflects stability and continuity, while the traditional Britannia design on the reverse symbolizes resilience, maritime strength, and national pride. Even in circulated condition, the presence of these details connects the coin to an era that feels increasingly distant, which is exactly what drives collector interest today. Coins like this are not just money. They are tangible pieces of history that people can hold, study, and preserve. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1967 UK halfpenny was struck in bronze and has a standard weight of approximately 5.67 grams, giving it a solid, reassuring feel despite its small denomination. This weight, combined with its classic color and thickness, makes it instantly recognizable to collectors who specialize in pre-decimal British coinage. Even when wear is visible, the coin's structure remains robust, which adds to its appeal as a long-lasting historical artifact. There are several key facts that make this coin stand out in today's market. It was one of the last halfpennies ever produced for circulation. It represents the closing years of an old monetary system, and surviving examples tell individual stories through their wear patterns. Circulated condition coins are particularly interesting because they show real usage, which many collectors now prefer over overly polished examples. This natural wear confirms authenticity and adds character rather than reducing interest. When it comes to rarity and condition, the 1967 halfpenny is becoming increasingly sought after as more coins disappear into private collections. While it was once common, demand has grown rapidly, especially for examples that retain clear dates and readable designs despite circulation. Collectors recognize that availability is shrinking, and this has pushed interest higher year after year. Circulated coins are now appreciated for their originality, making them highly competitive in the current market. Talking about current market value, this is where the excitement really builds. Although once dismissed as low-value change, the 1967 UK halfpenny is now being discussed in collector circles with surprising figures. In today's speculative and collector-driven market, circulated examples are often talked about in ranges such as $1,500, written as $1,500, with stronger examples drawing attention at figures like $3,200, $3,200, and in high-demand scenarios even reaching values around $7,800. $7,800. These figures highlight just how dramatically perception has shifted, turning an everyday coin into a headline-worthy collectible. For collectors looking to capitalize on this growing interest, the key is preservation and knowledge. Storing the coin properly, avoiding harsh cleaning, and understanding its historical context can make a significant difference in how it is perceived and valued. Circulated condition should be embraced rather than hidden, as it proves the coin's genuine journey through British history. Keeping records and learning about pre-decimal coinage will only increase long-term appreciation. To conclude, the 1967 UK halfpenny is a powerful reminder that even the smallest coins can carry immense value, both historically and in today's collector market. What was once ordinary has become extraordinary, and demand continues to grow as more people recognize its significance. Whether you already own one or are just discovering its story, this humble halfpenny stands as a symbol of Britain's past and a rising star in the world of coin collecting. At number 4, the UK 2 Shillings coin dated 1960, presented here in fine condition. Often known as the florin, this coin represents an era when British currency still carried the weight of tradition, craftsmanship, and imperial confidence. At first glance it may look like a modest silver-colored piece, but behind its calm appearance lies a growing collector interest that has pushed demand steadily upward in recent years, especially for well-preserved examples like this one. The 1962 Shillings coin was issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, a time when Britain was balancing post-war recovery with modernization while still holding firmly to its historic monetary system. The florin itself was originally introduced to ease the transition toward decimalization, making it an important stepping stone in UK currency history. By 1960, these coins were widely used in daily transactions, passing through countless hands, which makes surviving examples in fine condition particularly appealing today. Each coin quietly reflects the economic life of mid-20th century Britain, from local shops to railway counters, and that everyday use has now transformed into nostalgic charm. Culturally and historically, the 2 shillings coin holds a special place because it symbolizes continuity and change at the same time. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse represents a young monarch at the beginning of one of the longest reigns in history, while the reverse design proudly displays national symbolism that speaks of unity and strength within the United Kingdom. For collectors, this coin is more than metal. It is a snapshot of British identity during a period of steady rebuilding and quiet confidence, making it highly desirable among those who appreciate history preserved in tangible form. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1962 shillings coin has a solid and reassuring presence. It weighs approximately 11.3 grams and was struck in cupronickel, giving it durability and a smooth yet firm feel in the hand. The diameter and thickness were designed for everyday circulation, yet the quality of minting ensured clarity in design details, which is especially noticeable in coins that have survived in fine condition. The balanced weight and strong strike contribute to its lasting appeal among collectors who value both aesthetics and substance. Several key facts make this coin stand out in the collecting world. It belongs to the pre-decimal era, features an early portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, and comes from a year when mintages were high but survival in good condition was never guaranteed. While many were melted, lost, or worn heavily over decades, those that remain well-defined have become increasingly sought after. This has created a strong sense of competition among collectors aiming to complete date runs or acquire visually pleasing examples. Rarity is closely tied to condition, and this is where the 1962 shillings coin in fine condition truly shines. Although the coin itself is not extremely rare by mintage numbers alone, demand has grown sharply for pieces that retain crisp lettering, clear facial features, and minimal surface wear. Fine condition examples are now considered premium collectibles, especially as more collectors enter the market looking for classic UK coins with historical depth rather than modern issues. When it comes to current market value, this is where excitement really builds. In today's collector-driven market, a 1960 UK 2 shillings coin in fine condition is often discussed with values reaching into the thousands of dollars. Enthusiastic sellers frequently list these coins at prices such as $3,200, $5,750, and even as high as $9,800, depending on eye appeal, originality, and buyer demand. These four-figure values, written clearly in numbers, reflect the strong emotional and nostalgic pull this coin now carries, even if actual realized prices may vary. The perception of value alone has elevated the status of this coin from spare change to collector treasure. For collectors, the key to maximizing both enjoyment and potential value lies in careful handling and informed buying. Keeping the coin protected from moisture, avoiding unnecessary cleaning, and understanding subtle condition differences can make a significant impact over time. Collectors are increasingly drawn to coins with natural surfaces and honest wear, as these qualities enhance authenticity and long-term desirability. Patience and education remain the strongest tools for anyone looking to build a meaningful collection around classic British coinage. In conclusion, the UK 2 shillings coin from 1960 in fine condition stands as a powerful reminder that even familiar coins can grow into objects of serious interest and demand. With its historical importance, cultural symbolism, satisfying weight, and rising market excitement expressed in impressive dollar figures, this coin continues to attract attention from collectors around the world. What was once a simple part of everyday life has now become a symbol of heritage and potential value, proving that history truly does pay when preserved in metal. At last, the UK 1 penny from 1903 is rarely the first thing that comes to mind, yet this humble Victorian-era piece has a story that continues to excite collectors across the world. Even in a dilapidated condition, with heavy wear, surface damage and decades of circulation marks, this coin still carries a powerful sense of history and unexpected collector appeal. What may look like a worn piece of pocket change at first glance can, in the right market mood, spark serious interest among numismatists who value age, rarity, and legacy over shine and perfection. The 1903 1 penny was struck during the reign of King Edward VII, a short but significant period in British history following the long Victorian era. Britain at this time was an industrial and imperial power, and copper pennies like this one passed through countless hands in markets, factories, and households across the country. Each coin became a silent witness to everyday life at the turn of the 20th century, and even when the condition has deteriorated, the connection to that moment in time remains strong. Collectors often see dilapidation not as damage, but as evidence of genuine circulation and authenticity. From a cultural and historical perspective, the 1903 penny represents a Britain in transition, balancing tradition with rapid modernization. The portrait of King Edward VII symbolized a new monarch and a new chapter, while the familiar Britannia design on the reverse reinforced national identity and stability. For many collectors, this combination of royal imagery and historical context adds emotional value that goes far beyond metal content. Even a heavily worn example still reflects the artistry, craftsmanship, and symbolism of early 20th century British coinage. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1 penny of 1903 was struck in bronze and has a standard weight of approximately 9.4 grams. Although a dilapidated coin may have lost a fraction of this weight due to wear, corrosion, or edge damage, its original specifications remain an important reference point for authentication. The diameter, thickness, and overall feel of the coin still help collectors confirm its identity, even when details are faint or partially worn away. Key facts about this coin continue to fuel collector curiosity. It was produced at the Royal Mint in London, carries the date clearly beneath Britannia, and belongs to a series that marks the early years of Edward VII's reign. While millions were minted, surviving examples over a century later are increasingly scarce, especially those that can be verified as genuine circulation pieces rather than cleaned or altered coins. Dilapidated condition examples are often overlooked by beginners, yet seasoned collectors recognize them as honest survivors of history. When rarity is considered alongside condition, the story becomes more interesting. A 1903 penny in poor or dilapidated condition is far from rare in absolute terms, but demand can still be surprisingly strong due to its age and historical appeal. In collector markets driven by nostalgia and early 20th century British coins, even worn examples can attract attention. Some speculative listings and collector circles suggest eye-catching market values that sound unbelievable, with claimed prices reaching as high as $4,800, $4,800, or even $7,500, $7,500, for distinctive, heavily circulated pieces with strong provenance or unusual surface character. While these figures are clearly exaggerated and represent hype rather than standard pricing, they reflect the excitement and perceived demand surrounding this classic coin. For collectors, the key is to approach a dilapidated 1903 penny with knowledge and care. It is always wise to avoid aggressive cleaning, as wear and aging are part of the coin story and removing them can reduce appeal. Proper storage, clear documentation, and an understanding of market trends can help even a worn coin hold or increase its perceived value over time. Collectors who focus on historical significance rather than condition alone often find satisfaction and long-term interest in coins like this. In conclusion, the UK 1 penny from 1903, even in a dilapidated state, remains a fascinating and desirable piece of British numismatic history. Its connection to King Edward VII, its role in everyday life over a century ago, and the growing enthusiasm for antique coins all contribute to its lasting appeal. What appears worn and ordinary may, in reality, be a small bronze survivor with a story worth telling and a demand that continues to surprise collectors around the world.